Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of our Icenia Rises campaign. It actually was very much a Icenia Rises, Icenia Falls, and Icenia Rises. Again, we are the nation of Albion, the Empire of Albion, excuse me, and we are at war in Gaul. We have about 10 years, we have exactly 10 years left in this fight, so let us go ahead and carry on. I'm going to go ahead and push in, try to take some of these forts. Yeah, I'm really excited to see the conclusion of this campaign. To just understand how far we've come, to understand the just tremendous victory we had. Ooh, I'm going to go ahead and want the popularity there. Understand the tremendous victory that we had over the rebellious armies from, well, our own rebellious armies. At one point, we had lost the entirety of mainland Europe to a civil war rebellion. We, however, have been able to take back all of that territory and are once more making a final blitz for Gaul. We are going to try to take as much land as possible here in the last 10 years of the war, or in the campaign. Of course, there are a lot of tribesmen in Gaul who are going to try to stop me. It looks like we have some notable deaths. Most of them seem to be coming from mercenaries. Ooh, unfortunately, we actually, I think, had a stack wipe there. Ooh, and we might have another one here. Let's keep an eye on that army. I'm not necessarily super worried about losing a bunch of troops. Yes, indeed, we were actually stack wiped. Are those my own troops? Yeah, they were. That's unfortunate. Either way, I'm not, necessarily microing anything. There's 10 years left of this campaign. I'm just seeing what I can do in the last 10 years before the new update of the game, the Livy update, comes out. I'm recording this on Monday, December 2nd. The new update comes out tomorrow. I hope everyone is excited about it. Let's go ahead. I think I'm just going to put you on independent operations. Let's just have you fight. We are victorious. We are close to taking all of this land. They seem to have one more fortress here. Let's put someone decent in charge of you and move you in. You as well. Let's move this army in. And we will hopefully defeat them in one final grand battle of the campaign, or of the war, that is. And indeed, we were victorious. Yep, there it is. They lost about 4,000 men. Ooh. Alright, so actually we haven't fought this yet. Or actually, no, this army is trying to come in. Yeah, stack wipe, stack wipe. Could I actually go ahead and just siege this down? Let's go ahead and end this war as quickly as possible. Let's see, are they going to run out of men before we run out of morale? Ooh, it does not appear so. Alright, so we were able to take that city, and now that's about as much territory as I want to take. Let's grab it all. And I think that that will be fine for this war. That's going to give us 18 aggressive expansion. Not really going to worry about that too much in the current state of things. Plus, by taking that those two nations, I will be able to reduce my aggressive expansion somewhat. Alright, so who is next? Maybe Trabokia? Although Trabokia isn't exactly in Gaul. I'm trying to take Gaul. Although Trabokia is a worthy opponent. Let's check out their alliance situation. They have a relatively large defensive alliance. It looks like... Okay, so that could be a nice little in-game fight. Most of central and southern Gaul seems to have joined them. I also wouldn't mind fighting Carthage at some point. I think that they have some Gaulish ideas of their own, and I want to make sure that that doesn't happen. I'll go ahead and give my emperor a new wife. How old is he? He's 63 years old. She's 63. Oh man, that basically means it's a match made in heaven, right? Perfect. They have just gotten married, and we are already a year into our final episode. The game ends in year 727. I don't know if it ends right at the beginning of the year or at the end. I think I'm just going to go ahead and fight Carthage. Or is Carthage the best one to take on at the very end? I would love to take on Rome again. You know what? I am going to fight Carthage, not because I necessarily think that they are going to be a huge challenge for me. Let's see, in Santonian. Not because I think they're necessarily going to be a huge challenge for me, but because, well, what province is this? Settlement of Lamnum in Santonia. Alright, so province of, where's Santonia? Is it here? Oh, in. Alright, so in Aquitania? Alright. Open diplomacy, fabricate claim. I want to find it. Have I just missed it? It looks like I have. You know what? It doesn't matter. I'm gonna go for Massalia. There we go. That should be relatively easy to grab. And let's just keep on keeping on. I'm gonna go ahead and, because there's no real point in me mounting up the military experience at this point, go ahead and hire some more mercenaries, get ready to fight against the Carthaginians. Let's also go ahead and hire all of these stacks as well. Again, I can't take it with me, and all these armies, well, they'll be gone in just in just under a decade, so might as well get some use out of them. Meanwhile, I have my own huge armies to contend with as well. I will admit we did not take quite as much territory in this campaign as I was expecting, or indeed hoping to do. Most of that is because, well, we got slogged down in some really heavy fights in Germany. That really did slow us down. And then the big one was the big rebellion at the very end, which was fun. It served as a nice late game boss for myself, where they had actually pushed me. It was a ton of fun to fight. It was a very intense war. They had actually pushed me out of mainland Europe completely. Ooh, you know what? 4 tribesmen, sure. They had pushed me out of mainland Europe completely. They had actually even taken Caledonia, so Ireland and Scotland had fallen. We did outnumber them, though, on the sea, as well as, and this is, by the way, just a huge civil war. We outnumbered the rebellious, well, the traitorous armies on the sea, as well as in the Isles of Britannia, so we were able to reconquer Ireland, reconquer Scotland, and allowed this to really be our power base, which pushed us. We kind of did an Operation Overlord where we pushed into Gaul, or into modern-day France. We took Brittany, and then we just pushed all the way across the entirety of Europe. It was a long, drawn-out conflict, but in the end, we were victorious. Because after all, we are the Empire of Albion. We do not fail often. In hindsight, I do kind of wish I'd focused more on taking Gaul earlier in the game, instead of maybe pushing out into these vast expanses. I at one point just kind of went a little colonization crazy and decided, you know what, I want horse archers. And so I just pushed the colonization game all the way across the map just to get to those horse archers, those steppe horses, that resource. Indeed, I finally did get there. And then many of those horse archers actually turned against me in our final war with in that civil war. But alas, at this point, Carthage has to realize that we are mounting troops on their border. They should know. We should keep an eye out for who Carthage is allied to. They have several guarantees and several subjects, but no true allies. Perfect. We are 82% of the way there. We should be done around June of this year. And I will look to start the war immediately. Ooh, there's been a scandal. Scandal's unfortunately a daily part of life at the Britannic court. You know what? I think I'm just going to have you lose your position in government. That's alright. I'm not necessarily worried about playing the most optimized way at this point, mostly just because we have 10 years left. I've accomplished all of my goals, really. I could have stopped playing, I just really wanted to get to that end screen. But once that civil war fired, my goal became to retake the territory that the rebels occupied, and we definitely did that. We have pushed them all the way across the map, and we actually, this right here was the last territory occupied in that civil war. It was an epic fight. Alright, our claim has been fabricated, and with just about 8 years left in the game, we are going to go ahead and... Ooh, I'd already had a claim to take Santonia, so we are going to go ahead and declare war on the Carthaginians for Santonia. And immediately I'm going to push in as fast as possible before they have the ability to hire a bunch of... Like, they don't even have commanders for any of these armies. That's going to be a grave mistake on their part. And that's going to give me some early easy victories in Gaul. Meanwhile, let's go ahead and push into Massalia. Once again, we will have a border with Rome. Okay with that. Yes, and just right away, we do a world of hurt on a lot of these armies that don't have any commanders. Interesting choice by the Carthaginians to just have all those men sitting in a field. This is the first time I believe we have taken on elephants. Our troops run in terror at first, but then realize they're actually not that hard to bring down when they are not properly commanded. Now, obviously, a decent general who maybe knows how to use said elephants would serve the Carthaginians well, but unfortunately that's not what they get, and right there, 66,000 of their troops in the utter blitzkrieg fall to just an army of, I mean, what is that? 12, about 14,000 men? Alright. Perfect, I'll take it. And again, 10,000 troops fall. So we have blitzed through the Carthaginian territory. This is going to be a fast war, I think. Maybe we should finish the campaign with a war against Rome. That could be cool. Or I might be a little premature in saying that Carthage is just going to let me have this territory. But we're going to give it a shot. We'll go ahead and try to peace out with them. Let's see how long... If this is could be the shortest war. No, and indeed, they're not even willing to take a white peace yet. So they want to keep fighting us. I'm okay with that. Let me go ahead and move my men back to some land that's a little bit easier to defend. And I'm just going to let the game tick. Now, there may not necessarily be the same exciting conclusion that in this campaign that I had in my Sicily is Very Tall campaign, which you should definitely check out the final episode of that, where I continue my war against Carthage. Me and all my feudatory states actually win a couple battles in mainland Africa, and even though we did not take any territory for the entirety of the game, with less than a year remaining, we actually we went ahead and took control of it as Sicily itself, because we felt like we had earned it. We took control of the province of Carthago. Yes, that includes the grand city of Carthage. The city of Carthage, though, in this campaign has not been so grand compared to the huge, and I mean absolutely devastatingly huge, city of Venta. We are suffering from some population effects, so let's go ahead and just build some aqueducts. Forgot the word there for a second. Meanwhile, let's go ahead and can we declare war on you? Yeah, we can. So I'm going to go ahead and declare war on these three nations. There's just really no reason not to. I don't even... Okay, so they do have a couple forts, so... I wasn't necessarily prepared for this war. I didn't have my troops on the front lines, but... should be an easy, simple fight nonetheless. We have a religious advancement. Cool. You know what? I'm going to defend the rights of the locals. to turn some people on some independent operations. Let's just see what the AI armies can do. I'll go ahead and take the tribute income up. Why not? Looks like we won a fight and actually stacked wiped them, captured several of their commanders. Let's go ahead and get the monthly ruler popularity up. That just helps me just that little bit extra. And population growth is fine as well. There are again 7 years left in the campaign. 7 years left. I do believe that this is going to be our last episode. So we will be seeing the end screen in this episode. Hold out with me if you can. We should see exactly how strong the people of Albion really are. Just to kind of look at it, I'm going to have the game play in the background. We are vastly superior on score. We've won a siege. We're vastly superior on score, doubling anyone else nearby. Yeah. Wasn't even close. Let's go ahead and just continue with national slave output. That's just going to give me more money, which I don't need any more money. Let's take a look at the ledger as well. We could let's just do it like this. Sort by territories. We vastly outnumber the second highest, which is the Egyptians. Surprisingly, the Marians only have about 350 territories. Wow. Oh, it's because the Marian and the Marian revolt. So those two countries if Mario were to rejoin, would actually be quite close to what we have. Number of pops, we have vastly more pops. However, if the Marian revolt and the Marians were combined. Let's take a look at India real quick. Yeah, so, I mean, that's a huge civil war, but whenever that is resolved, they will once again become the strongest empire in the world. We did not quite unseat the Marians, I do not believe. What we do have, though, is more money than anyone else, that's for sure. We have a ton of manpower, but actually not as much manpower as Carthage. Actually, there are a lot of places that have more manpower than us. We have the second highest number of cohorts. Marian Revolt actually looks like they are going to be able to handle the Marians here because, well, they have a ton more men. And as far as ships go, Carthage outdoes us, but we are, what, 5th on this list? So overall, not necessarily terrible, not a terrible campaign. We're going to see the end screen in this episode. We're going to add a couple more territories to our domain. As soon as this battle is over and we have sieged down this land, we will go ahead and sue for peace. That should give us quite a bit of leverage at the peace negotiating table. And indeed, we're just going to be able to full annex, I do believe. Yep, and it's only going to give me 5 aggressive expansion. So, that was easy, that was done. And let's go ahead and get rid of 1.5 of that aggressive expansion. Perfect, kudos. I'll go ahead and fabricate a claim on Nervia here. I don't really like having that nation just sitting in the middle of all my territory. Might as well take it. What about you? You have a nice little defensive league. Ooh, you are allied with the Trabokians. Well, let's go ahead and fabricate a claim on you, shall we? Wouldn't necessarily mind getting into a fight with the Trabokians. Especially if we could end this fight with Carthage. Oop, Carthage no longer seems willing to give up that fight. Oops, I just turned the screen all which directions. Ooh, it looks like they are fighting us in the south. We shouldn't have let up. They're actually going to beat us there. So let's go ahead and move a couple more armies down to deal with the Carthaginian resistance. Also, you know what? Why not? Gonna hire these 14,000 men. We have 6 years left in the game. 6 years left in the game. You know what? Sure, I'll take that 15 political influence, even though I'm really not using political influence too much at the current point. Really, I'm just kind of blitzing towards the end of the game. So unfortunately that mercenary stack is probably going to get maybe even stack wiped. Which is okay. It means I don't have to pay for him. We are going to win this fight though. Not even close. Perfect. And Massalia is once again going to fall to the Albion Empire. Let's go ahead and just keep retreating you back. We have full armies that can definitely take care of things if needed. Massalia is once again a part of our empire, and we can bring this army back to try to trap the Carthaginian armies in Gaul. We are suffering from some low food. Ooh, this is going to be rough for the Carthaginians. We get some bonuses in the forests, although we are also the aggressors. We are going to stack wipe one of their armies. Perfect. Good. And that hurts. Well, it hurts them, not me. And we should be able to stack wipe this army as well. How sad. Oh no! I really want him to last till the end of the game. He has been an absolute boss. His stats may not show it, but he has been extremely tough and resilient. We have captured one of their generals. You know what? Let's go ahead and execute him. Why not? Gaining a little bit more tyranny. Tyranny is not necessarily bad. As you can see, it does help with our national slave output and pop assimilation speed. How are we doing? They're not landing any troops over there, are they? Nope. So let's keep on preparing for our fight in the east. We're going to get a peace imminent claim. I think Carthage would go ahead and give us everything we want. Indeed they will. Let's go ahead and sue for peace. And boom, just like that, we are ready to move. We're ready to move all of our armies east towards the Trabokians. The recent passing of someone has caused widespread interest among the court and amongst our population at large. His considerable fortune is of such magnitude. Ooh, is this the guy that I killed? Yeah, he's a... Okay, so I guess we took a bunch of his gold as well. I could say, think of the children. Well, you know what? He's just going to gain a bunch of money. That's alright. Maybe he'll hire an army to face against me, but at this point, I honestly welcome the challenge. We're fabricating 2 claims. One of these is just on this small nation here. So I'll go ahead and just prepare to invade it. Might as well just go ahead and get a bunch of these inventions as we finish the game. There's no real reason not to. We have plenty of money after all. It's a little less than 5 years left in the game, so let's go ahead and as soon as these claims are fabricated, let's try to go to war quickly. We'll definitely want to try to end the war before 727, so we have about 4 years to do this. Of course, that's after the claims. I know I could just attack them. I just don't want to. We're going to wait for the claims to go. It's going to be fine. I could have kept trying to push through Gaul. In fact, that might have been more to my liking. But just look at this nation that we have created. It's been a wild ride, but it's been a lot of fun. I'm glad anyone who's watching, I'm glad you've joined me on any of these episodes. I've appreciated it so much, and I've had a ton of fun putting them out. I plan on keeping on doing it once the Livy update comes out. Although I haven't decided who I'm going to play first in the Livy update, so I still have some decisions to make there. I didn't realize I had a truce. Whoops. You know what? Oh well. And that just tanked my stability. Whoops. Well, you know what? To each his own. I broke a truce. Whatever. It's okay at this point. We'll see how does that negative stability impact us. Well, means we're going to take a ton of unrest. Happiness is going to go way down for our primary culture. Threshold for civil war is going to go down. Oh gosh, if we have to fight another civil war here in the last 5 years, I'm going to be mad. We've already won one civil war. Was that not enough? It was enough. Doesn't appear like anyone is willing to try to stop my armies from pushing across the border. That's probably the smart play here. For them, we are extremely powerful. I'll tell you what, a lot of these men have actually been our veterans in many campaigns. They fought in the bloody civil war that ended up killing over 1.4 million men. That's just an absolutely tremendous amount of manpower that we unfortunately lost, both on our side as well as the side of the rebellers. They lost about 800,000 men, we lost about 600,000 men. Still just absolutely horrific numbers. In the meantime, we continue to push in. Let's go ahead and end this fight. This is probably going to be the last war we fight in the game, mostly because, well, I'm not going to let my stability... Oop. Alright, so let's find out where this is. Harsh treatment. Alright, so Tegulata. The rebellion will be crushed. Okay, so it's easy. Let's go ahead. I'm going to send more men than I need to because they are going to take this territory and a bunch of those slaves will join. But we should easily win that fight. There's just not much some undisciplined slaves can do to stop the onslaught of Albion troops. We are the grandest and most disciplined army in the world, I'm pretty sure at this point. Maybe the Marians. Maybe the Marians. Someone will gain a bunch of corruption, but he'll also gain 10 loyalty. Or he get 3,000 gold. You know what? Doesn't matter at this point. I'm not super concerned. We are just pushing on through. This is kind of the end game territory. You know, we've already had our big boss. We've already destroyed the Civil War. We've crushed the rebellion. This is just extra at this point to see how much we can get before 727. Not necessarily playing it super micromanaging, though. Looks like once again our ruler needs a new wife. How about you? You're 67. You could be a decent partner for him. He is very legitimate. He is very old and unfortunately he has cancer. He has arthritis. I mean, so many... The time is really taking its toll on him. However, it cannot be stated enough. He was the glue that held our empire together in its darkest days, and he will be remembered forever as the man who led the Albion Empire into a new realm of greatness after the terrible leadership of his father failed him and cost us to have a civil war, which we won after many, many years. I mean, I think it was like almost 2 decades. I could be really off on that. Sometimes it seems like it's a lot longer than it is. But no, I'd have to go back and watch some of the videos I recorded, but I feel like it was like a 2-decade civil war. I mean, it took us, just a lot of time to conquer all of this land, because, you know, with in the Civil War mechanics, how they are now, you actually have to physically conquer all of that territory. still winning fight after fight. We're still making decent progress. Oops, we've let our guard down here. It's gonna be an easy victory. Yep, indeed. And we're gonna keep giving chase to this army that... Oh, we have a new oratory advancement. That's good. Move this army back, keep them from retaking all this land that they grabbed. And as soon as this fortress falls, which, would I think about maybe assaulting it? No, there's no reason. We'll make it in plenty of time. Is this a slave revolt? We should actually go ahead and take care of that. Even though they're not our slaves. Oh, speaking of the slave revolt, did we take care of it down here? Yes, we did. Good. Alright, and with that, I believe we can actually go ahead and just take all of their territory. That's going to give us 30 aggressive expansion. We already have a huge amount of aggressive expansion, but you know what? Let's go ahead and just do it for the clean borders. We'll lose the some aggressive expansion, and then I actually guess if I can get over 30 stability, I would love to just make this little nation disappear. But this may be the last war we fight. Let's go ahead and make sure that this slave revolt doesn't get out of control. And in the meantime, I guess I can start canceling some mercenaries, because I don't think I'm going to need them anymore. You need a new governor, sure, why not? I'm going to make an example out of them. I haven't done that yet in this campaign, I believe, and I keep having to deal with them. Plus, they're not my slaves, they were the slaves of the conquered. So it is May of 724, and the game ends in 727. I don't know if it ends on January 1st, 727, or if it's like in March. Does the game end on the historic date in which the Roman Republic became the Roman Empire? I believe that sounds right, although we'll have to see. That would make sense. Of course, we may not necessarily worry about that in this campaign, as the Roman Empire, or the Roman Republic, has struggled mightily with Carthage. Carthage was probably one of the better AI nations in the game. Of course, Moria is decent, but Moria is always decent because they just start out with such a huge power base. Just for these last few years, I'm actually going to speed it up a little bit, I think to speed 5. Let's just kind of reflect. Divicacus II Sonorous, he was an amazing emperor. He really led us through times of strife and times of struggle. I'm gonna stab the pig. Let's just see if we can get enough stability up in time to maybe declare war and just get rid of these little pink people, because, well, the nation of Albion, it shouldn't have this little enclave in it, you know? We'll see. We shall see. I don't think I'm going to be able to make it up to 30 stability in time to declare another war. I know I could get an event, or there might be a few things I can do to force it, but I'm not really worried about it too much. I think that this is probably the final borders of our empire. I'll go ahead and give away some money. These are probably the final borders of our empire. This playthrough was a ton of fun. In case you haven't caught us from the beginning, well, I definitely encourage you to go back to the start Forgive me for the low production quality of the earlier videos. Heck, forgive me of the low production quality of this video. I am getting better at this whole YouTube thing, and I'm hoping to keep it going for a little while. I'm having a lot of fun with it. It should be... yeah, I should continue to put out videos day after day. Back to this campaign, though. We started out as the tiny Iceni tribe. We really struggled at the beginning to take control of all of England, but once we had a decent power base, we were able to take control of all of northern England. We had to fight a war against some of our loyalist allies who had actually fought for us in several wars. There were 3 nations that were really helpful, and we had to eventually turn our backs to them. We are getting close to that end date. We had to eventually turn our backs to them. Once we did that and conquered Ireland, there was really no stopping us. We pushed through, we colonized all the way out to the steppes, mostly just for those steppe horses. And then since then, we have had to turn our attention back towards Gaul and towards, well, actually a civil war that happened. You know what, for freedom. A civil war that happened, it caused our nation to be splintered. Thankfully, though, we were able to retain control of these islands, the British Isles, and although the entire continent fell, we pushed back, we invaded Normandy, and we pushed back, and we ended up pushing all the way back to the steppes. We just completely destroyed the Civil War in, well, in a war that cost the lives of more than 1.4 million soldiers. As we are getting closer to the end date, go ahead and go back to speed 4. It cost the lives of over 1.4 million soldiers, and it was just truly horrific. But once that war was over, after being led through it by our great Divicacus II Sonorus, we once again turned our attention. We fought Carthage, we fought Rome, and we fought some more Gaulish tribes. And that is actually going to be how we should end. Very soon we will go ahead and get that end screen. I believe it ends in March, although we will have to check when we actually get there. But the game definitely ends in 727. We get an end screen, and there is the end screen. Congratulations. The greatest empire in history. Yes, that does belong to us. The Britannic people are often lauded by the gods themselves, having built an empire surpassing even that of Alexander. History shall look back upon us not merely as conquerors, but as bringers of civilization and truth to all parts of the globe. And there it is, folks. Our Iceni Rises campaign. Iceni definitely rose. The Albion Empire definitely became the strongest empire, at least in Europe, potentially the entire world. I would have loved to have fought the Marians at some point. But there it is. I guess the game ends on the 18th of February, 727. Thank you for joining me. This has been my final video of the Cicero update. I'm recording this on December 2nd, so tomorrow for me, the Livy update will become available and I'll be playing on it. I hope to bring you lots of great Livy content as well. But thank you for joining us. This has been the final episode of our Iceni Rises campaign. Iceni rose, it fell, and it rose again. Thank you so much for watching. Hit up that like button, hit up that subscribe button, and as they say, I will see you on the next one.